Hi, I'm Ivan from Webwash, and in this video, I will show you how to generate scaffolding and boilerplate code in Drupal 8. Now, I like to write code as much as the next person, but I don't like to write boilerplate code. I don't want to waste time copying and pasting code and making sure I'm extending the right class and this and that. I want to get straight to solving problems as a developer. Now, luckily for us, there are tools out there that can help us generate boilerplate code so we can be more productive as developers. So in this video, I'll show you how to use 3 tools: Drupal Console, Drush, and Module Builder. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Let's start things off by looking at Drupal Console. Now, Drupal Console is a CLI tool for managing Drupal sites. You can use it to install a site, clear a site cache, import and export site configuration, and generate code, which we are interested in. Now, the killer feature of Drupal Console back when it first came out was the ability to generate scaffolding code. Back then, Drush, which is another CLI tool, which we'll cover in a bit, couldn't do it. But as of Drush 9, you can use Drush to generate code. Now, to learn more about Drupal Console, just head over to drupalconsole.com, and from here, you can download it as well as read the documentation in multiple languages. Now, I already have Drupal Console installed. If you set up your site using the Drupal project composer template, so if you search for Drupal project, I think GitHub, you should find, yes, this composer template. If you installed Drupal using this composer template, you should have Drupal Console already installed. If you're not using the Drupal project composer template, then look in the docs on how to install it, but it should be just a simple composer command. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll open up my terminal, and here it is. And now for me to run Drupal Console, what I'll do is I will run it from the vendor directory. So if I run ./vendor/bin/Drupal, I can see all of the Drupal Console commands. And as you can see, you can do a lot with Drupal Console. You can debug a whole bunch of stuff. You can access the database. You can execute cron. You can change configuration changes, do whatever you want. But the thing that we are most interested in is the ability to generate code. So if you type in Drupal space generate, you should see all of the generate commands. And as you can see, there are a lot. So if we look right at the top, you can generate an authentication provider, breakpoints, commands, entities, and then you can generate a whole bunch of plugins. So what I'll do is, let's first go ahead and create a custom module. So what I normally do is, if I'm looking for a particular command, it's best to just grep everything. So if I was to just grep and search for module, I can see that there is a generate : module, also module : file, and then this permissions. But the one that we are most interested in is the generate module. So if I just type in generate : module, now I need to enter in the module name. So I'll call this one Drupal Console Demo, and then it'll automatically generate the module machine name. And here you can see that the default is just Drupal _console _module. So that is okay. If I want to change the default, I can easily just type it in here, but I'm pretty happy with that machine name. And then we need to specify a path. Let's just leave it in modules/custom. We can enter in a description. Let's just leave it as my awesome module. And the package can be custom. Yes, it can be a Drupal 8 version. And then now it's going to ask if we want an actual .module file, because in Drupal 8, the .module file is no longer required, but in Drupal 7, it is. So let's just leave it as it is. Okay, do we want to define this as a feature? Let's just leave it as no. Do we want to add a composer.json? Let's just set that to no. And let's leave out any dependencies, no unit tests, because our code is awesome. We don't need tests. And we don't need any templates. And finally, we are ready to proceed. So let's hit enter. And then here you can see all of the generated files as well as the number of lines of code. And then if I go into my editor and then go under custom, I can see my Drupal console demo. And you can see it's pretty basic. It's got just a .info file and a .module file. So at this point, we have a working module. And if I want, I can go in there and create any type of hook. Now, if you are developing a Drupal module, you know that more often than not, you will add in extra components. You are not just going to create an empty module. So let's go ahead now and create a block and add it into this custom module. So what I'll do is I'll search for, again, I will grep and search for block. And let's have a look and see if there is a command to generate a block. So as you can see, there is, and it is generate :plugin :block because blocks are plugins. So to generate a block, all we need to do is type in generate plugin and then block. So now we need to specify the module which the block will be added in. And this prompt is an autocomplete prompt. So all I need to do is search for my module name and it automatically appears. And now we need to specify the plugin class name. By default, it will be default block, but let's just change it to DC demo block. And the plugin label will be DC demo block. That's fine. And that's the plugin ID, which is perfectly fine. Let's just skip that. Let's just leave that as no. Do we want to generate a form structure? Let's set that to no. And let's just set that to no. And let's just proceed. And you can see that one file has been created. And then if we go to our editor and then go into source, plugin and block, you can see our block with a single method of build. And this is the most bare bones block you will ever see, just a single method called build. So that is how you generate a module and a block using Drupal Console. I do recommend that you have a play around with all of the other generate commands, because if we have a look, you will see that you can do a lot. And you'll probably spend most of your time generating plugins. So if you want, you can generate a block like we just did. You can generate a custom field formatter, a custom field widget. You can also generate views field. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can generate. So if this is the first time you are playing around with Drupal Console, spend a bit of time looking at the available commands. Now let's look at Drush. So let me just jump to my browser and let's go to drush.org. Drush is the original CLI for Drupal. It's been around for more than 10 years. And using the command line tool, you can install a site, rebuild the cache, import, export, configuration, and as of version 9, you can generate code. If you want to learn more about Drush, just go to drush.org to find out more. Now, similar to Drupal Console, Drush comes with the Drupal project composer template, this template right here. So if you have set up Drupal using this composer template, then you are good to go. So let's jump back to our terminal and I will clear everything. And to run Drush, all I need to do is run it from the vendor directory. So again, /vendor bin, and then this time Drush. And if I hit enter, I can see all of the Drush commands. So if we scroll all the way to the top, you can modify the configuration, you can run cron, you can flush the image styles, you can do a whole bunch of stuff. Now, to see all of the available generate commands, just type in Drush and then space generate. And then here, if we scroll all the way to the top, you can see that you can generate a controller, a field, a hook, a migration, other Drush commands, modules, of course, a whole bunch of plugins, services. You can generate pretty much anything in Drupal. So let's now go ahead and generate a module. So to do that, let's just quickly grep and see which command we need to run. So if I grep module, you'll see that a few things come up if I grep for module. The one that I am most interested in is this module standard, or we can use the alias module. So now let me just type in generate and then module and then standard. So first we need to enter in the module name. So I'll call this one Drush demo. And then the machine name will simply be drush_demo. And then I can define a description. Let me just leave the package as it is. And then we can define any dependencies, but I'll just leave it all as it is. And then, yep, let's go ahead and create an install file, a libraries file. Well, let's just set that to no. Now, one thing to be aware of is that when you generate a module using Drush, you can create a controller, block, event subscriber while creating the module. This is something you can't do with Drupal Console. It just saves you from having to run yet another command. So if you want to create a module and a block at the same time, you can do it using a single command with Drush. Whereas with Drupal Console, you would need to run two separate commands, one to create the module and then another to create the block. So let's just skip creating a permissions. And so here you can see we can create an event subscriber. We can even create a block as I mentioned. Let's just set that all to no, and a controller as well. Let's just set it all to no. And then it goes ahead and creates our 3 files. So if we go into our editor, we can see our Drush demo module has been created. And we have a .info file, .install file, as well as a .module file. Perfect. Now let's create a basic form and add it into this Drush demo module. So let's jump back into our terminal and let's grep form so we can find an actual command. And you can see here we have form config, form confirm, form dash simple. And this generates a simple form because in Drupal 8, forms are now classes. So if I then generate, so let me just type in generate form dash simple. Now I need to specify which module this form will be generated into. And similar to Drupal Console, this is an autocomplete field. So if I search for my module name, it should appear here. But one thing to be aware of is that for this autocomplete to work, your module needs to be installed. Now with Drupal Console, your module doesn't have to be installed for it to appear in the autocomplete prompt. But for Drush, we need to install the module. So let's just jump out of this and let's just run Drush enable and then what is it? Drush_demo. So this will go ahead and install the module. So now if we run Drush generate form simple and we search for Drush, you'll see that it will automatically appear. So just be aware of that. Okay. So let's select our form and let's leave the name of the class to example form. And let's just add in a route. Why not? And let's just hit enter, enter. Yep, everything looks okay. And now it's gone ahead and created a routing.yaml and example form.php. So if we have a look at our module, you can see that our form has been added right here. And you can see that it is a pretty basic form. This class is implementing the get form ID, build form method, and as well as the submit form and validate form. And there's also a route to the actual form itself. So that is how you use Drush to generate code. Again, if you have never generated code using Drush, I do recommend that you spend a bit of time having to play with all of the other commands just to get your head around things. So as you've seen, Drush and Drupal Console work in a very similar way. I couldn't say one is better than the other because you only use the generate commands to create very basic scaffolding code. and then you'll go ahead and customize it anyway. So use whichever tool you are most comfortable with. So we've looked at how to use Drupal Console and Drush to generate boilerplate code. Now let's look at using an actual module to create scaffolding code. And this module is called Module Builder. So just Google Drupal Module Builder to find the project page and click on the first result. Now this module can be used to create custom modules and add in plugins to the custom modules, but make sure you never run this module on a production site. It should only ever be run on a local dev site. So to get things started, let's go ahead and download the module. So jump into your terminal and let me just clear all of this and let's download it using Composer. So type in Composer require Drupal/module builder and then just give that a minute or two to download. Now let's jump into our Drupal site, which we haven't even used at all yet. So let me just close these tabs. And here is my Drupal 8 site. And if I go to extend and then search for just module, I should see module builder. So I'll check it and install it. Once installed, go to configuration and then click on module builder in the development section. And then when you install Module Builder the first time, you will see this error message. So Module Builder needs to analyze your site to find all the hooks, plugins, and services. So click on Analyze Code, and then click on Perform Code Analysis. And then here in the analysis results, you can see all of the available hooks, and there are a lot of hooks, as well as services, plugins, field types, so on and so forth. Now, as you install new modules, you will need to run the analysis again so it finds the hooks and plugins in those modules. So just come to this Analyze Code page to run it again, and then click on Update Code Analysis. So let's click on List, and let's go ahead and create a module. So click on Add Module, and then in the readable name field, just add in the name of your module. So I will add in Mod Builder Demo, and then below it'll automatically create the machine name for the module. And then I can specify the description. I'll just call this Module Builder Demo. And then we can also specify the package as well as module dependencies, but I'll just leave that as it is. And then click on Save Basic Information. And then here you can see all of the available components we can create. So hooks, plugins, entity types, test, and then of course under miscellaneous, you can generate all sorts of stuff. So if you click on hooks, you can see all of the available hooks, which the module found when it ran its code analysis. And so if you want to filter by another module, so if we want to find all the block hooks, we can simply search for block and see all of the hooks which are offered by the block module. Or you can simply open up the field set. And then if we click on plugins, you can generate plugins such as field types, field widgets, blocks, whatever you want. And you can also generate your own plugin types if you want. And then if you click on entity types, you can generate content entities or config entities. And then if you click on tests, you can generate tests. And then if you click on miscellaneous, you can add in forms, services, permissions, routes, libraries, a README file. So let's go ahead now and create a custom block. So click on plugins and then click on add a plugin annotated class item. And then from the plugin type dropdown, select block and then enter in the actual ID of the block. So what I'll do is I'll enter in mod underscore builder underscore demo underscore block. And then I will add in the current user service and have that injected as a service into the block. and then I'll scroll all the way down and click on save. So now at this point, the module hasn't been created, okay? To generate the actual module and the block, we need to then click on generate code. And then here you can see all of the files which will be generated. So once I am happy with my module and I've selected all the components, plugins, and hooks which I want to generate, here I can see exactly which files will be generated. And then once you are ready, just click on Write All Files. And then the module will go ahead and save those files onto the file system. So if I go to my editor, I should see a mod_builder_demo. And then here we can see our actual .info file as well as our block. And you can see that it's gone ahead and generated a bunch of code. Now we can come back and add in extra components to this module, because if we go back to, say, list, you can see that Module Builder keeps track of all of the modules it has generated. So if I click on Edit Info, and let's just say we want to generate another plugin. So let's go ahead and let's create an action. And let's call this action mod_builder_demo action. And then I'll click on save. And then if I go to generate code, I can see that the action will be generated. And here you can see the actual code which will be created. Now, one thing to be aware of, okay, is that if you have generated the module, okay, so let me go ahead and quickly modify this block. So just imagine you've gone ahead and changed a whole bunch of stuff, okay? Well, let me just add in a few more comments here. And let me just add in a bit more comments below, okay? Now, if I come back to this generate code and then just simply click on write all files, it will override any customization I have made to the existing module. So just be aware of that. Yes, we have our action, but I have also lost any customization I have done to the block. So to work around this, you can generate specific PHP files just by clicking on the write file button on the specific PHP file instead of clicking on write all files. So it's best to use Module Builder to create all your components and then simply generate it once and that's it. Or you could just generate a specific file if it's a single PHP file. So that's just something to be aware of. Now, if you want to generate a whole bunch of new components, you could go back to list, create a dummy module, generate that module, and then simply copy paste the components into your proper module. That's a basic workaround. So that is how you use Module Builder. Now, I prefer to use Drupal Console or Drush to generate components, but if you prefer the interface that Module Builder offers, well then use Module Builder to generate your scaffolding code. So that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. If you want to learn more about Drupal and check out our other tutorials, then head over to webwash.net. That is it from me. Thank you so much for watching and I'll catch you next time. I hope I wasn't bouncing too much in the intro because I am sitting on a bed and I was trying to avoid bouncing up and down. I might give some viewers motion sickness. Anyway, now it's time to edit all this together.